Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with another episode of our What If F1 Went To series. Yes, last week we went back to the full Nürburgring 24-hour layout, the Gleimstrecke if I'm not mistaken. Apologies for my awful German. But today we head to another pretty well-known racetrack in the world of motorsport. Now, of course, last weekend we had the Monaco Grand Prix, the most famous of all the Formula 1 races. However, there was a little-known oval race as well going on over the weekend. There were two little-known oval races going on over the weekend. Of course, NASCAR did the Charlotte 600 race, or the it's not called the Charlotte 600. It's the Charlotte 400, isn't it? 600 miles, 400 laps of Charlotte Motor Speedway. But there was a little race in the small town of Indiana. 500 miles around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway circuit, of course. Yeah, the Indy 500, as it's more commonly known. That was not the best intro I think I've ever done to a video. But, yeah, of course, the probably most famous race in America, at the very least. Probably one of the most famous races in the world. 350,000 people crammed into a 2.5-mile speedway. And yeah, Marcus Ericsson, of course, a former Formula 1 driver, taking home the dub as well. I actually watched a fair amount of the race, as always, Indy tends to deliver after a bit of a snooze fest that can often be the Monaco Grand Prix. And yeah, it now also means, with Ericsson taking the dub, that Caterham's 2014 Formula 1 team are 2/3 of the way to the Triple Crown. All they need now is Andre Lotterer to win the Monaco Grand Prix or the Formula 1 World Championship, and they would be sorted. But today, though, then, we're going to be taking the Formula 1 car to Indianapolis. Now, I did think about just doing a race on the oval, but it kind of just didn't really make sense. It would just be down the straight, completely flat out. There'd be no sort of interest in it. It would just be all about watching the battery just slowly deplete. So I thought, what happens if Formula 1 heads back to Indy Road Course? Of course, we've actually already done a video on the Daytona Road Course. But yeah, this track, very, very famous, of course, in Formula 1 for one race and one race only. And not for a particularly good reason, of course. The 2005 Indianapolis Grand Prix. There, as we try and get the car through the first couple of turns. And I've definitely accidentally cut the pit exit. But yeah, of course, yeah, this circuit really remembered pretty much for the farcical 2005 Indianapolis Grand Prix. It raced on the Formula 1 calendar, I want to say, between 2000 and 2007. Of course, Lewis Hamilton taking the last ever victory of that group there. I think I'm just having a few throttle issues actually looking at it. Give me a second. Right, well, I think I might have got everything sorted then, so we'll go back to my history lesson. Yeah, of course, Indianapolis hosted the Formula 1 Grand Prix between 2000 and 2007. This was still in an era where, Formula 1 now seems, touch wood, it's still early days, seems to now finally be understanding how to target the American audience. But back then, Indy probably seemed like the best chance, of course. It was actually the circuit owners back at the time. There was no way I'm going to be able to remember their names. We're completely going to build the road course anyway, so I almost run it up into the wall there. A very controversial wall, of course, again, in Formula 1. But yeah, they were actually going to foot the bill for all the circuit developments anyway, so Bernie Ecclestone was basically just given the golden opportunity to bring Formula 1 back to a very, very well-known race circuit. And of course, yeah, such an iconic circuit as well. Of course, F1 technically, the Indy 500 was on the F1 calendar between 1950 and 1960. And then, of course, they just went their own separate ways once more. So really, Indy should have been the track that Formula 1 sought successful return back to the US, but didn't quite end up working that way. And like we said, 2005 was the big reason for that. Now, really, the 2005 story technically begins back in 2004, of course, because Ralf Schumacher, I think a lot of people forget this, he had a massive crash during the 2004 Indianapolis Grand Prix weekend. Sort of, it was very, very scary because, this final corner back with the V10s was insanely quick. You're going through here at in excess of 200 miles an hour back then. Of course, when we get the full deployment, I'm sure we'll be able to get pretty close to that as well. But yeah, Ralf Schumacher, like I said, had a massive crash during the 2004 Grand Prix weekend. Obviously, it was a one-off, it was a bit of a sort of an irregularity, everything like that. He walked away. I think he was a little bit battered and bruised, but he was absolutely fine. sort of long-term from it. And then, of course, Formula 1 came back in 2005 after the major rule changes that meant that you could no longer pit for tyres during a Grand Prix. You could only refuel. Now, so far this year, that hadn't been too big of an issue, except for around the high-speed banking at Indy. That was going to be near impossible for pretty much anyone to achieve there, at least throughout the entire race distance. Or I say anyone, any one of the 14 runners that was still on Bridgestone tyres. Now, Michelin runners, they had a bit of an advantage, of course, because Indy had been recently, I think it was diamond cut, I want to say, the tri-oval. So Michelin, sorry, it was the other way around, wasn't it? The Bridgestone runners were fine because they had Firestone as their sort of American IndyCar supplier. So they sort of knew what to expect for this race. All the Michelin runners, they didn't. I'm pretty certain. I might be getting that the wrong way around. Yeah, so just wanted to make sure I got my facts all correct there. So yeah, all the Bridgestone runners, which at this point was just Ferrari, Jordan, and Minardi, they all had tyres that could make the race distance. However, the other 14 cars that were all Michelin runners, they simply couldn't. Now, of course, you'd think, well, you know, 14 cars in a Grand Prix out of 20 is not going to make a particularly good show. So I'm sure you could kind of add, you know, maybe slow the cars down in towards that final chicane. Because like Michelin has said, you know, their tyres could go no more than about 8 laps. And in a 70-lap Grand Prix, 10 pit stops is really not a good look. Unfortunately, though, Bernie being Bernie and Ferrari being Ferrari, no decision ever got made prior to the race. You know, temporary chicane potentially going in, speed limits through the final corners, everything like that. Nothing could be sorted out. And of course, yeah, that led then to all of the Michelin runners all boxing at the end of the formation lap there. Ferrari, Michael Schumacher, he took his one race victory of the year. You know, Ferrari were off the pace all year that season. So he got a, let's be honest, a very, very undeserved race victory here at Indianapolis. Jordan, I mean, that race basically was what meant Minardi went under at the end of 2006, I think it was in the end, I want to say. You know, I think, honestly, my favourite thing from that entire weekend was the Paul Stoddart interview. Definitely go back and watch it on YouTube if you never have before, because he goes on, I think it's Dutch TV, and just absolutely rips into everyone, you know, because obviously, like he's saying, you know, his team and Jordan, of course, back then, they were fighting for scraps at the end of the year. You know, if either team scored a point, that pretty much guaranteed them they got the prize money over the other team. And of course, when there's only 6 cars in the running, everyone's going to be scoring points, and Jordan had a huge advantage over Minardi over the course of this weekend there. And yeah, that basically meant that, yeah, like I said, Minardi effectively went under at the end of, I think it was 2006 they went under. I might be wrong, that could have been 2005. So my history around these sorts of things is not always perfect. And yeah, unfortunately that meant at the end of 2007, after a brilliant battle actually between Hamilton and Alonso, where Hamilton won his very first US Grand Prix in the last race at Indy, it of course got dropped from the calendar. It never renewed its contract, rather understandably, because people were still absolutely livid at what happened back in 05. And really then, of course, you know, we sort of took a 5-year hiatus, and Formula 1 returned at COTA. Never quite to the same effect. I've always quite liked the Circuit of the Americas, but it never quite had the same sort of appeal as Indianapolis would. But there we go then. That's a bit of story time as we jump into it here from Indianapolis. Of course, really now, what is this track known for nowadays? Of course, apart from hosting the Indy 500, effectively you have Indianapolis month around Indy. So, first of all, you do a race around this layout, the GP circuit. Now, I was kind of hoping, to be honest, that iRacing still had the classic layout with the double hairpin through the chicane we've just been through. Unfortunately, it doesn't anymore, but luckily we do still get the full-speed final run through the last couple of corners, because you have got this chicane. Sorry, not this chicane. We may have gone onto it a little bit too late there. We've actually got this chicane, sorry, through the final few corners that the Indy cars do, because why on earth would you ever want to go right through an oval section, as that is, yeah, not quite how the final couple of corners were, but you get the idea as well. Those will try and get rid of yet another slowdown penalty. But yeah, of course, a brilliant race again this year from the Indy GP layout as well. Colton Herta having a mega race in the end there. A huge save late on full opposite lock for a good 3 seconds actually through the chicane where the old double hairpin used to be, and yeah, went on to win the Grand Prix. Of course, Romain Grosjean famously took pole position here last year. It was first pole after his crazy, scary Bahrain Grand Prix crash in 2020. And yeah, safe to say, you know, I think a lot of you guys are probably well versed on the Indy road course as well there. So I'm going to try and whack the battery up a little bit. You know, we've actually done quite a lot of laps. It's a really short lap around this venue now, of course, without the double hairpin. Let's try and get the deploy on and see what we can muster up then. Let's go qualifying mode at the final corner. It's not going to set us up for the best run, but we may as well sort of use this one as my first attacking lap. There's through the final corners. Yeah, easily well over 180 miles an hour through that final turn. I think you get DRS. Yeah, there we go. DRS is enabled at the final corner, so we're going to find a load more time as we head back down towards the one. Breaking about the 2 marker in towards the first corner. Third gear through the first part, and then third through the second. Is rotate the car, flick it right, flick it back over to the left, and then through turn 3. You try and actually hit the apex through there. It's really difficult, you know, the car and the circuit really just sort of come away from you underneath there. Through another pretty much nothing right-hander, and then you go through this long hairpin before the next right-hander, and then you head out onto what is effectively a very short back straight here. This, like I said, was where the double hairpin used to be, so you actually used to turn in about there, and then this is kind of opposite to where you go through the double hairpin, and then, of course, yeah, you'd re-emerge out of this chicane. Or you do what I've just done. Please don't hit the wall. Oh, that was close. That was very close to the wall. And then, of course, yeah, you head out of the final couple of turns back out on towards the banking there. So that is our sort of first lap then of the Daytona road course. Let's actually try and just get my head down, and we'll try and go for a proper attack mode style lap then. Where is the DRS activated? Actually out of the final corners. I don't know whether I got the DRS enabled anymore. I think I did. As we head back down towards the one, they use so much battery through the final couple of corners, and of course Formula 1 cars now, as fast as they are, you know, you can just brake so late around pretty much the entirety of this lap that it really does mean that you can't really actually charge much up on the battery as well there. But of course, the age-old question in this series: would F1 ever return to this circuit? I don't think it'll happen, but it certainly could. Obviously, if they brought back... I mean, what they'd have to do now, yeah, is go through that final chicane properly. The way I showed you the Indy cars do, pretty much just to try and increase the lap time as much as anything else there. As we head back down through the chicane. Oh, that was a little bit too much. That picked up a 1x, and then, yeah, through here, you've really actually got to be quite tentative on the throttle, even in a Formula 1 car, with all the grip that it's got. But heading out the final corner, then back up towards the start-finish line, I'm sure, you know, sort of the big modern Pirellis would be able to handle this absolutely fine there. As I mean, going through a tri-oval backwards is always quite a weird experience. But up towards the line, what is that time going to be? It's a 1:05. See, I mean, if you add the chicane in, it's not actually shorter lap times than Austria, which is kind of a good benchmark in this series, but it's not too far away either. What I'm going to do then, we've had quite a history lesson, which has dominated a big chunk of this video. I'm going to go back. Oh! Come on, hold on to it. No, not quite. Yeah, I'm going to go back in then. We're going to put on a fresh set of rubber, and then we're going to go for a real attacking lap. This is just giving me so much nostalgia from playing. I mean, that might be giving Sebastian Vettel. Oh, no! Oh, that's karma for giving Seb grief. Oh, no! That's not good. I was about to say, this is giving me a lot of nostalgia from F1 05, because that was really sort of the first F1 game I properly played. I did try to roast Sebastian Vettel there, and have just made myself look like an absolute mug. I mean, we didn't do that much damage to the rear wing. Let's try and actually go out then and give this thing a proper run. See if we can dip into those 104s. I've also now actually learned how to do the pit exit here. You go straight down in towards someone there, and you go around that first curb. But yeah, I mean, this circuit, like I said, there's just so much history in Indianapolis as well that I think, you know, I really do appreciate. I think it kind of gets a little bit lost for a lot of Europeans. I would just think as well, you know, this is such an architectural masterpiece as well. You know, there's an 18-hole golf course, or half of it, I want to say, inside the oval around this circuit. You've got a huge lake as well. It really is just an absolute cathedral for motorsport here. But we're gonna, I mean, you've really got to try and set your lap up out of this chicane or down in towards the final couple of turns. Let's just try and head through. Try and make sure we got enough temperature in the tyres. Let's try and get it over to the left-hand side. Out of the final, or out of the penultimate corner even, I should say. Still got a few more sort of right-hand kinks, but of course, always in a Formula 1 car, these are not really corners. Don't really need to take the high line out of the final turn there. Activate the DRS. So we head up towards the line then. Now let's go for a proper push lap. Here from Daytona. To Indy. That's not good. Very, very wide through turn 1, but we got away with it. Let's try and actually clip the apex through there. A little bit early on the brakes. Is second gear the way to go? No, we'll leave it in third. Second gear definitely through this one though, as we try and attack the curbs. Out on towards the back straight there, try and get the car all the way over, get yourself the best run, and then still not quite sure where to brake here. I like there actually, ended up working quite well. Just clip the grass, no, way too deep on the exit there. So still just trying to explore the limits. Speaking of exploring the limits, you're not far away from the oval down this end of the circuit. I never knew this. I did not realise just how close you were to the other end of the oval when you head out of here. I mean, that's literally just a matter of, what, sort of 30, 50 metres? I mean, there's the pit exit. That's genuinely messing with my brain slightly. I did not know that. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto. Right, let's try and go again then here and actually get a lap completed from Indianapolis, and make sure we actually say the right track name as well this time around when we head through the final couple of corners here. But I must admit, like I said, love doing this series still. You know, something a little bit different. I know it doesn't always quite get the same sort of views as all the other stuff we're doing. I mean, you guys have just been smashing it. This last week or so has been ridiculous. You know, F1 2022 isn't even out yet, but I'm so hyped for that game as well. They know there is plenty more to look forward to on the Matt212 YouTube channel, and we're now, what, like 1,500 away from 50k as well, which I never thought we would ever see. But anyway, let's try and do a proper lap then here from Indianapolis. Down in towards turn 1 there. That was probably the best line I've had through there. Just got to remember how much sharper 2 is than 1. You try and take them the same way as... still apparently there's an apex through there. I've only ever heard it's a rumour, never anything official, because I certainly can't find it. And through there now, apparently. I'm all over the show. Just so difficult. Trying not to lock up the fronts and trying to keep the back end in check as well as we head down the back straightaway in towards what is now, I think, one of the most difficult parts of the lap. Very, very tentative through that. Oh, that's going to be a 1x, but I don't care. Oh, I do care about that. Round in the final turn. Oh, no! Oh, no. Keep it out the wall. Keep it out the wall. I don't know what lap time that could have been, but I'm going to give myself one more shot. I mean, it is so cool when you get this thing, what it feels like on a knife edge, but also then tends to mean because I'm not Lewis Hamilton, I end up doing pretty stupid things as well. But final attempt then, here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Like I said, such a nostalgia trip coming back to here. Really does take me back to, you know, when I was about 6-7 years old, playing F1 2005 back in the day. There, I wasn't lucky enough to play Championship Edition when I was young. I was still back on the PS2. But anyway, let's try and go then. One proper final sweat mode lap. Activate the DRS. And let's try and just get this thing around this circuit as fast as we can. I was going so well and basically being as close to perfect as I was sensibly going to get this thing around the venue up to there, but just that final chicane, it always seems to screw me there. That last left-hander, I just can't quite seem to navigate as well as I would want to. But anyway, up towards the line then, what is the lap going to be still here from Daytona? It's only a 1:05.4. I can't leave it on that, surely. I cannot leave it on that note. Oh, you just only get one lap on the tyres. This is the problem. But that first sector have been so good. I know I can do it. I know I said that was the last one. We're giving it one more go. Right, big final run then. Well, we both know. You the viewer, and me the driver slash commentator slash random chatty bloke. If I don't nail this, I'm probably going to try and do another run. But let's try and see what we can muster up here from Indy. I just know there's easily a 1:04, maybe a 1:03 in it. I just knew the lap was already unfolding by the time we made it through turn 1. I've just got to get one hooked up. It's more for me, to be honest. I just got to try and make it through those first couple of turns. That's the main aim there. If I can just get through turn 3 and clip the apex, then I know we're on for a pretty decent run around the rest of the... Hang on! That was 5th gear! 5th gear! The thing looped it round. And I mean, that's our first proper write-off of the day. I suppose we better have a look as to what we managed there. And like I said, that was 5th gear on throttle. I had no idea. It would snap round then. I thought we were completely safe. Let's just wait and see. Then at the final corner, did we clip the grass? No! It just looped it! Oh, that's not good. One more go. How many more times am I going to say one more go? I mean, I can say this is the last go, but we both know if I don't get it nailed, I don't mean it. At the final corner, 185, 190 miles an hour as we head around the banking. Let's see. Come on, Matt. Get a lap hooked up. Get on with it. Show that you can still race a Formula 1 car on a game. No, in a word. Based on that first chicane, come on! Come on, please! Oh, that seemed low speed to lose both fronts. Not even sure I should just keep introing each of these laps at the moment, because none of them seem to work. But, I mean, to be fair, I haven't quite got all day to try and get a lap hooked up here from Indy. But, I mean, it's just so fun as well on iRacing. That's what I keep trying to point out as well. You know, the F1 games are brilliant, but this is brilliant in a completely different dynamic there of, I mean, dynamic and scary, to be honest. I mean, we got a 1x there, but I'm not going to worry. I won't tell if you guys don't. Come on, don't let that curbing get too far away. It's been a good first sector if you ignore that little bit of grass. Second guessing myself, come on. No, don't lose it, don't lose it. Round in the final proper corner then. We got the power down. That's going to be it. Whatever this lap time says, even if it's a 1:05 again, that's what we're going to be walking away with here today. Through the banking for the final time here in Indianapolis. We had a history lesson to begin with and then a lot of fails later on in the day. Up to the line. It's a 3! It's a 1:03.8 there. Very, very happy. I will take that. In fact, you know what? In celebration, we're going to go around the oval backwards. There we go, though, guys. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like and get yourself subscribed there. Like I said, having so much fun doing this series. And next week, we're going to be heading to Le Mans. So you guys definitely do not want to miss that one as well there. But like I said, a massive thank you to everyone as well for the insane support on all the videos over the last few weeks. You know, we've smashed through 47 and 48k over the last few days. 50k right around the corner. F1 2022 right around the corner. F1 Manager not far away as well. It really is an exciting time on the channel. But thank you all so much as always, and we'll be back very, very soon with more Formula 1 content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.